Uranium friends checking in on the big board miners. We're starting it off with CCJ monthly chart. What am I in log scale? Yeah, log scale. So if you'd watched any of my previous videos from the past 2 years, which I'm sure most of you haven't, I've always said, and this is the behavior of this stock, right? It always has these 3-month consolidation periods, right? 3-month consolidation periods over and over. It's insane how predictable the behavior is in this name. And the consolidation periods usually end up in a test of this blue line, which is a 26 EMA. Where are we now? 3 months of consolidation into a blue line test with another metric here is this anchored VWAP pull from this last pivot down here. This was quite the consolidation period. Everybody was having a heart attack in this, by the way. If anybody remembers, everyone was calling for the end of the sector in here too. Let's keep that in mind. Anyway, so these long-term swing type monthly metrics are starting to fire, right? And we're catching this little wick. It's starting to wick. So on these metrics, it looks like it's a spot to say, okay, if the behavior of CCJ on the monthly chart doesn't change, this is the spot to be looking to have interest. That's the way I'm looking at it, only from that perspective. Now, what one will have to do, and this is going forward for a while, one would have to be aware of the potential for a monthly head and shoulders formation to finally mark the top of this big trend and send it home. I don't know. I have no idea. All right. I'm a technical analyst. I look at multiple time frames and I see what I see. This is what I see as a possibility, right? But we're not there yet. We wouldn't be there in quite some time. You want to look at something like that, you're looking at Q3, Q4 of 2025 for this new high. So the right shoulder to form. So there's time involved here. Not much to think about now, but it is good to keep an eye on your multiple time frames, long, short, middle, all that stuff. So on the monthly, this is a spot to start looking, right? That's the way I'm looking at it. On the weekly, we have a confirmed weekly downtrend with follow through. Losing all of its averages, all that stuff, right? So the ride is, and it's getting to a point where there's not a lot of support in here. So it's going to need to hold. I mean, at the end of the day, it's got to hold 35. But I'm hoping that this 40 area could be the spot. As a reminder, this gap here is not filled yet. It didn't make it all the way down, right? This gap is not filled. So even if I decide to just take this line and put it at the top of this gap, I'll put my little magnet on to get precise. Did it fill the gap? No. So 41.57 fills the gap, gets you down into this area. That's why I'm kind of chopping around quick. I'm trying to take some pieces of profit here, because if I lose this level, I'm fairly confident that the gap is going to fill, and it's probably going to undercut a little bit and see what happens over here. So, but I'm not there yet. Right now, I'm here with this. So that's the deal with CCJ. That hourly inverse head and shoulders has kind of played out. And we're waiting to see if we get a 4-hour higher low form. So for now, the daily higher low is set at this level here. I'm going to bring this back at 42.36. So the players that have worked in here are working off that area. It's just that simple. CCJ, it's the spot. There's starting to be a spot here where it's going to be a make or break, right? So we'll see. As time goes on, it's very choppy trading across the board, all in all equities and markets. So we'll see. Dennison. So Dennison, $1.42 has always been a big level, and I've been highlighting this level probably for 2 years in my videos, and we're coming to test it now. So we have to see how it reacts there. So this other metric that I look at with Dennison, much like the CCJ always bounced off its blue line, well, Dennison on the monthly bounces off its gold line, which is the 50 EMA. It's right here, it's right now, into pretty significant support, right? So one would think that it's a logical place for a bounce. So will there be undercuts? Oh, it wouldn't surprise me at all one bit, but we're kind of coming into the spot, right? So we're nowhere near to extreme oversold conditions. Whoever sold you that narrative doesn't know what they're talking about, but um, not even on the weekly, I don't think. Yeah, so look, the weekly is not even anywhere near. This is a daily. What's the daily look like? The daily's, it's starting to tap daily oversold conditions. A notorious bounce spot. Could it go a little bit deeper? It did here. You can't see that with that stupid thing. It did here. It did in multiple spots. So it can go deeper. That's why I say RSI is not a standalone indicator. But again, this is kind of like it's just coming into the area. So people can, as an individual, you can decide what you want to do here as far as your trading plans are concerned. Certainly you don't want to lose the $1.40 area with follow through. So we'll just have to see. The possibility of an undercut is obvious, right? It could surely undercut. The volume has really ramped up, and it's all selling volume, which is, I guess is probably what you want to see. Listen, I have zero Dennison in my portfolio, so I'm not going to have a problem bringing it in, right? And this is so now I'm interested in Dennison at these levels, and it's just going to be how it plays out in the rest. But I just know all I care about. For me to think about Dennison, I just want to see what Cameco does. That's just as simple as it gets. So metrics are starting to fall into place as to where it makes sense to buy um, some of these names. Dennison is doing it. CCJ is doing it. Let's look next at Encore on the monthly chart. So Encore, everybody says it's a bit of a dog. I don't know if it is or not, but I know people that are in down that got in down here, so they're not going to agree with the fact that people think this is a dog. But Encore has broken that's monthly double bottom, so it doesn't look great. So this is the first one to do it. Let me see, April 2023. I just want to make sure that I'm looking at the right thing here. Yeah. So Encore is weak, and it's really has lost that double bottom that almost the rest of the sector is still holding like a champ. So interesting. It's coming into the golden pocket on these fibs here. So one would think that it could bounce in this area, and you got the volume profile here. So there's a lot of support. It's coming into a lot of support. So we'll see on that front as well, right? So Encore, to me, a little bit of a laggard play. So if the other guys get going, your UECs, your NXEs, your Dennisons, even your CCJs, it's a good laggard play as far as I'm concerned. So a nice little dumperama. Again, see, this is just a matter of this is capitulation. It really isn't, right? What it is that there's a major level that broke. So the stop started to fire and it cascaded. It's not even in daily oversold conditions. I don't even weekly oversold conditions rather. Daily probably is, I would guess. Yeah. So your bounce is underway here on Encore. This low is set. right? So for me, it's just all right. I know the daily low is set here. When I say it's set, what do I mean? I don't mean it's the bottom. I don't mean this is it. All that I mean is that the next candle, the next day, took out the previous day's high. That's it. That's all it is. So this has just been a massive waterfall move down. Right? So the sellers can't get out fast enough, it seems, right? So, and that is the nature of a big support break because this was a big support break. Big support break. And that would trigger, that will fire out a lot of stops. Um, does that entail some signs of capitulatory action? Yeah, it's part of the puzzle. So, but again, nothing extreme about the oversold conditions here, right? And again, this is still Encore is still well, it isn't actually. Let's see, high, low, lower, high. Yeah, forget about barring all these smaller pivots in here, but it really is. It's a monthly downtrend. There will be technical analysts who say that's not enough of a pivot. I say it is. So it is in a monthly downtrend. It's probably still in a quarterly uptrend. It is, right? It hasn't lost it yet. So here's your high. Let's just say low, high, higher low, lower high, and now it's looking to see. So this is probably going to end up being a chop fest. As long as this level holds, it's $2. It's 179. What is it? 176. So Encore is a bit of a dog. But I know that since I know the sector and I know the stocks, I know that Encore is a laggard, so I can jump on that later. I don't need to jump in front of this move at the moment. So UEC, let's take a look at the monthly. Same deal. I mean, it just doesn't look any different. Always have to be cognizant in the future of these magnet. The possibility of these monthly head and shoulders is real, and we really want to make sure that that does not occur, right? So I'll probably be talking about it again in a couple months, maybe at the end of the year, somewhere around here, saying, okay, this could be the monthly right shoulder. And you might see that a lot in a lot of names as we move through these charts. But again, continued monthly uptrend for UEC, right? So what's UEC's metric? This is a good spot down here. 475 to me seems like a pretty decent area to be a buyer, and I will probably be a buyer in that area. Weekly is nowhere near to being oversold. Coming down into this level, maybe whatever CCJ does will be something to keep an eye out for because maybe the rest are probably going to follow. This daily higher, this daily low is set for now. The action's not great. I'm just looking at all of this stuff as a relief bounce to make a new leg down. And I posted this on Twitter yesterday. I go, bears are looking for entries at this point. Some shorts have been covering here, maybe. This is probably the start of some short covering. It could be shorts could still be hanging on. If I'm in a short position right now, there's really no reason for me to cover. There's nothing to tell me to cover. So anybody who's shorting probably knows what they're doing. So there's no reason for them to cover. It's just that simple. Unless they're using leverage, right? If they're in puts and they have some time constraints with them, that's a different story. But so people that are shorting uranium stocks it's been a gold mine for them since October. So this was a little rough, but it's been good for them. And there's no reason to cover my shorts. Anybody who has shorts, and earnings season is kicking in too. So UEC is the same deal. You have your metric there. Weekly is a downtrend confirmed with follow through. I'm starting to sound like a broken record, right? This initial bounce that we're getting, it sets this low for now, but it's got to hold, right? So then it's got to hold, and the trend has got to change. URG, It's quite the little dog, right? So let's see what this monthly looks like for URG. Yeah, I mean, this is the first one to really start coming into these heavy duty monthly supports, and URG is doing it. So, again, low risk play. If you think that this 85, 84 level, 82, whatever, if you think this mid 80s level holds, you're a buyer here. It's just that simple. And, I would say I'm a buyer here too. And if I'm wrong and this breaks down, I'm going to be out. Yeah, so just still straight down. No reason for shorts to be getting out. We got earnings coming up when March 5th, so next week, right? So earnings season's starting to kick in for these names, right? So um, pays to pay attention. What else do we have here? Next gen. Next gen, I mean, I'm going to be a broken record. Once again, same metric, right? They're all in the spots. If you're playing the monthly charts because you have a job, you have a family, and you have a second job, and you go on vacations, you only look at your portfolio once every weekend or whatever. If you're playing the monthly charts and you're a long term investor, um, the chart says this is a spot to take a shot. There's no question that this is a spot to take a shot at next gen. You had a clear level. The Bulls have clear levels very close by to tell them that they're wrong. So it's cheap to find out over here. Coming down into this support zone. So we'll see because after that, you could get the drop down into the mid fours. After that, that's the next spot we'll be looking is right in here, 470, 469. Um, so that's the deal with next gen. I know that there's plenty of people who love their deposit, and I know that there's plenty of people who hate the management. I don't really care, right? Because it's a big board with liquidity and a thriving option chain, and that's where if people want to throw money at something speculatively, of course, with a pretty decent speculation, right? So their project is one of the best deposits in the world. So it's not the worst thing to be looking at. So, yeah, that's it on these big boards. I'm just trying to see if there's anything that I missed. I probably did miss some of the larger miners, but that's it. Yeah, I did UEC. All right, over and out. Check your monthlies. They're starting to be in spots where decent larger size bounces can occur, right? So this is a reversion to the mean type of play right here. This is a reversion to the mean. It's there, and the reversion to the mean, quote unquote, traders, and there are people that look for those types of trades all across markets. This would be a spot that they're looking also. So take it with a grain of salt. Everything so far for now in this sector is just an oversold relief bounce until it's not. So the shorter term time frames have to change the trend back to the bulls. There's no signs of it. There's no reason for shorts to cover yet. Um, and that's just the way it is. So that's going to make for chop, chop, chop. Chop, 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 chop. Okay? That's what it's going to do. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So that's the deal. Not the best video. Probably went too long. Um, but you get what I'm trying to say. Look at the monthlies and their metrics and look what they're doing. It's in the spot where they're doing it again, where they've been doing it for years. I would say that's something to pay attention to. That's all I'm saying. How you choose your entries is on you. I'm describing how I do it because I am an active market participant and I can mess with these hourlies and these 4-hour charts to try to get myself in low risk or risk free swing positions. That is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to detail it as much as I can, and the devil is over and out.